Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and this is just a final quick video on the Zenith 286. It's just to say that I've sorted its issues out now. It now boots from its hard drive. Both floppy drives now work. So yeah, the hard drive, what I ended up doing was low level formatting it. I actually used a little utility disk that was designed for the old Amstrad computers, and I used that to give the hard drive a low level format. Now I F-disked it and installed the system, and this time, yeah, it's worked. I did actually find that other hard drive I was talking about in my other video. Unfortunately, I have it here. This is it here. Unfortunately, what I discovered is it's actually a RLL hard drive rather than a MFM hard drive. It's 60 megabytes, but it uses the RLL interface, not the MFM interface, so it's no use for this project. But that'll be kept for obviously doing something fun with in the future. But no, I managed to get the hard drive up and running. I also managed to sort the problem out with the second floppy drive there, the 360k double density floppy drive. Actually, I found it in the manual. I looked under in the manual under adding a second disk drive, and it does mention there that if your second disk drive is going to be a 360k drive rather than 1.2 megabyte, what you have to do, now they did say about modifying the drive, and I didn't particularly want to do that. What you have to do is you have to disconnect pin 34. Which is the last connector on the edge connector there, and it did actually say about cutting the track on the circuit board in the manual. Now I didn't particularly fancy doing that, so what I did is I just cut it on the cable. I don't know if you can see it there. I just snipped it on the cable there. That is actually the ready signal on the floppy drive connector. That's what supplies the ready signal. So obviously this computer doesn't want it there, it's confusing it or something. So I snipped that, and it started working straight away. You now put a disc in, type B:, and it goes straight to that disc, and it reads this fine just like it did in every other computer. In fact, this, for double density discs, this is actually a better reader than the high density drive there. Because the high density drives were always a bit of a compromise when it came to reading double density discs, so it is a good idea actually to have the two drives, to have a high density and a double density drive in the computer. I'll fire it up and I will show it you actually booting from its hard drive. So I'll just move you across there so you can see the monitor, and we'll get to the monitor once I've got this thing powered up. So there we go, we'll switch it on. Let's see if it's retained its CMOS settings since I changed that battery. Wonderful noise, these old hard drives. Keep your fingers crossed. Is it going to boot? There we go. Now I don't know why it's not saving its date and time, but it is working, and as you can see it's booted to drive C and type dir. I now can access my C drive. Because I've only got I've got a games folder on there, and all I've got in there is that Blocks Tetris clone that I showed you before. We can go to the utils. As you can see, we can get into the utils. I've got loads of little benchmarking utils and all sorts on here, so let's try sysinfo. S-I-N-F-O. And let's see if this tells us something we need to know. Yep, that was nice and quick actually. So it's telling us it's a Zenith computer, 286, 8 megahertz. It's telling us we've got a 21 megabyte hard drive, we've got two floppy drives, 1.2 meg and a 360k, and it's telling us we've got 512k of memory. And that's my next thing, that's the problem. I have looked at, oops, there we go. I have looked at the main board there, that's the main processor board, and unfortunately it has 512k of memory on board, and it has no way of adding any more. So the only way to add additional memory to this computer is to use a RAM expansion card, and quite frankly they just sell for far more money than I could ever be willing or prepared to pay for this thing, so it's going to have to stay with half a meg of RAM in it, unfortunately. The other slight annoyance is the graphics card there. I thought it was a Hercules CGA switchable card, and unfortunately it's not. It's just a plain Hercules card. You can't output CGA or EGA from it, which is a bit of a shame, because I dug that out of storage, which is my CGA monitor, and I did even make a cable up, because it was missing its cable, but I did actually make a cable up to try it, but no go, I'm afraid. You just get interference on the screen. I do know, I have seen that in the past when I used to mess with these computers, and if you plugged a CJ monitor into either an MDA or a Hercules output, it's exactly the same as what I got on the screen there. So yeah, unfortunately I can't get a CJ monitor to work on it. And again, CGA cards, I had a look on eBay, and like the cheapest CGA card I could find was, I think it was about £45, and I just can't justify £45 on this old 286 computer. It's a bit of a shame, really. I would have really liked to be able to upgrade the RAM in it anyway, and possibly put a VGA card in it. But no, as it is working nicely. It's just a pity I can't put, like I said, I was hoping to put Windows version 3 on it, and put a mouse on it and some other things, but it's really not viable with the only having 512k of memory. But anyway, I'm going to probably leave it at that. I'm going to box this thing back up, and it can go under the bench until I decide what to do with it. It's a bit too big for up here, unfortunately. It takes like most of my spare floor space up just having it on the floor, so I will get it built back up into a computer. It won't be going back into long-term storage. I'll keep it around somewhere in the warm, like make sure it doesn't deteriorate any, but for the moment I think I will put this one away. So I hope you enjoyed that, and at least it's had a happy ending. At least it's up and running how it should. So I'll leave it at that, and thanks for watching, and goodbye.